This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports in Chaco. It's a bit hard getting that out. It's been a month since I've done an interview. But obviously, we'd like to say to everybody, first and foremost, obviously, Happy New Year. It's 2022. We're delighted to have our first guest of the year, all the way from America, Connor Coyle. How are you, mate?
All good, bud. Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I know we planned to bring you on, obviously, previously, and we were hoping to meet up with you in Belfast. You were supposed to be fighting in the Common Boxing Show in November. You obviously flew out to Spain. I think you done a couple of weeks of camp in Spain, and you end up having to regrettably pull off the card. What happened to you?
Well, about 6 weeks prior to that, before I flew to Marbella, I had a smash on the nose of a clash of heads. My nose was broke at the time, but I didn't know, so I didn't do any sparring. So we found out we're fighting on the Common show on November 5th in Belfast. So I decided I needed to get away for 2 weeks and try and get some good sparring and stuff, and away from distractions. But the first bar I had, the second round in, I just clipped the wee jab in the top of the nose, and I heard a crack, and I just knew my nose was gone. So I sparred on a few rounds, and then I got out and just decided I need to get it checked before, in case I do any more damage.
And I guess obviously sometimes we fans and stuff like that as well, when they sort of hear injuries and stuff you can have, particularly around the nose and stuff, and obviously the reasons why you can pull off cards and stuff, it's more you want to be at your best in a fight, and you don't want to get, because let's face it, you're going to get hit in the nose some way in the fight, so you want to make sure that you're at full capacity. I guess sometimes as fans, it's like, remember David Hay, obviously in the fight with remember he broke his toe and obviously used an excuse, but there's wee things can go wrong, particularly with your nose and eyes and stuff like that you have to be full healthy fight for.
Yeah, well, I still wanted to fight, but my coach at home and my coach in Florida, they said you can't be getting into a fight with a broken nose. You need to be 100%, and your head needs to be right, whatever. But obviously, I didn't. I wanted to keep active. I was getting into the mood of fighting again. And then another setback happened. But that is boxing, and you just you have to get on with it. We're gonna get setbacks, all the time, but we just have to keep pushing through them.
And pretty much, I think around about the same time as well, you were offered a fight with Chris Eubank. Obviously, I think the first initial time they planned the fight, Williams obviously pulled out an injury, and I think you were pretty much about a week out from the fight. You were sort of offered the Eubank fight, just in case of too short notice.
I was 6 days, I think it was. 6 days, I got the phone call around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I wanted to take the fight because I mentioned to get on anyway and get fighting, but obviously it wouldn't have been a smart move. I was like 9 kgs overweight. I wasn't sparring. I wasn't barely training. I was actually just had a flu a few weeks prior to that, so I wasn't really training anyway. So it would have been a stupid move to just to take the fight. I was taking the fight for just to get back on the ring again, but it would have been a stupid decision. And again, my coaches talked me out of it. And then big fights are going to be down the line eventually, so I just had to be smart about it.
I guess that the thing is, if you were just in boxing for a payday, not sort of slating some boxers, but some boxers know that their level of where they can go to, and getting a fight on Sky Sports against Chris Eubank and a good money payday, they go, we know what, afterwards I can roll off into the sunset. Whereas you have a different goal, you've where you want to be in the sport, and you don't want to be fighting someone on a big platform when you're not going to be at your 100%.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the years that we had, COVID and stuff. You just, if any opportunities came, you wanted to take them. But if you're not ready for that, that caliber, fighting, you can't be stepping on it, because it'll do you a lot more harm in the long run. If I'd went down there, lasted a few rounds, and get knocked out, then I would never have gotten an opportunity again, and I would have had to build myself back up again.
And I think Luke Keeler was actually offered it as well, I think in Fight Week as well, but I think probably more than you. Luke Keeler's obviously been out of the ring, about 3 years now nearly since his last fight with Andrade. 2 years. 2 years, I
2
think.
years. We fought on the same night, January 30th.
So he was offered the fight as well, but it was worse for him because he had more than 9 kilograms to lose with him being out of the ring for so long. It was never a fight he was going to take unless it was a payday and get out sort of thing, you know. But for yourself, it's 5 years coming up now since you fought at home. Obviously, I guess the Conlon card would give you that opportunity to fight at home and probably it saved people a few pounds, probably in traveling away to America to watch you or sitting up to all hours in the morning watching. Probably it was a big, probably people may not know sometimes, but it'd have been hard for you to even pull off that card because, say, fighting in Belfast, fighting on, even though you were fighting in Belfast, you were streamed across the world in Top Rank and everything else. Is a plan sort of in 2022 potentially to get a fight at home if an opportunity arises?
Well, no, we do have a good relationship with Jamie and Michael and stuff in the Conlon boxing. And if opportunity came up to fight close to home again, we would like to take it, and have the opportunity for fans close to home, especially around Derry and Belfast and whatever, they travel up to see me fight, because most of my fights have been halfway across the world, and a lot of people can't get them from close to home. But if we get the opportunity again, we would love to get on one of the Conlon and Top Rank cards.
Definitely. And I think I sort of said before we started airing there, I was sort of saying, the potential there as well could be, the Fela in 2022. Obviously, Mick beat Lee Wood in March, and potential obviously there. The Fela, I know Jamie had spoke previously at 20,000 people in Falls Park. What an opportunity to be to fight at home and bring a lot of people there. And it's pretty much like a carnival nearly. It's just, even last year during COVID and 8,000 people at it, it was crazy. It was all action, and that's exactly what you want. And I guess that's what Irish fighting's all about. It's sort of honest fighting, hard work, and just doing the best you can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we'll probably speak about it on down the interview, so just you go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I think we're getting for anybody sort of be tuning in, you sort of a wee bit of a difference with you in America and obviously us in Belfast. We're starting a wee bit of time lapse. But obviously, going back sort of on the Eubank offer, obviously it's a fight you will want with a full training camp, but it's obviously been strange. But obviously, Chris training under your old trainer and your old promoter, and Roy Jones Jr., and obviously yourself being a fighter with him previously before COVID kicked in. Would that have been a sort of strange surrounding you would have sort of been facing, where Roy's all, Connor, how's it going? Blah, 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 but he's in the opposite corner from you?
Yeah, well, I was actually just speaking with Roy about a week prior that we got that phone call. So maybe that was one of the reasons we did get the phone call, because it was fresh in Roy's mind. But I was speaking to him a few weeks prior to that as well, again, on about, because I didn't know Chris was back home in the UK training and stuff. I thought he was still here in Florida, obviously, because I still wasn't able to get back to the US. But on about sparring and stuff, so he says he didn't realize that I was back home either. He thought I was back in America. So, paths were crossed there too, otherwise I could have been over helping him out sparring and stuff. But I think that's probably why I was fresh in his mind for the phone call.
It was somebody was going, Connor will be up for this, it's just on the head. And obviously the Eubank Williams fight looks now like it's going to be happening in early February. It's obviously been delayed with COVID and Williams pulling out. What's your sort of thoughts on that fight? Obviously, obviously I know you've been linked to obviously to fight Eubank and stuff before, and Liam Williams has fought for a world title against Andrade recently as well. What's your sort of thoughts on that fight? Is it a sort of really good British dust-up, or is it one of these sort of fights where you're looking at the winner?
Yeah, well, I do think it will be, it'll be an all-action fight. There's a lot, there's a lot of stuff going on between them. You see it on social media back and forth, but and it would be hard to call who will be the winner, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if either or beat each other. So that's the way I would look at it. But I did those kind of fights that I'm going to want, possibly this year. You know, a couple more fights now. We've 2 fights lined up by the end of March. So and then one more fight maybe, and then I'll be ready for. Well, the fight in March where it's actually a WBA title. We left that we were in the top 15, then we're a WBA or top 10. So I want big fights from there on out. You know, no more, no more sort of build-up fights or Mickey Mouse fights or whatever people want to call them, but I want big names after that.
No more fighting in car parks in Mexico where the floods, you know, them days are behind you.
He put us up in a 5-star resort and then took us down mountain to fight.
But here, that's memories. As I think we said the last time, that's memories. I think it'll last forever because how many people can say they fought open air and them having to squeegee the ring between rounds, you know?
That's it. Swimming pool in between each round.
Something you'll tell the grandkids in years to come and they'll go, don't believe you, you know, he's Granda's losing the plot here. He's telling us stories, just, you know. But sort of looking at the middleweight division, sort of the landscape, sort of a lot of it seems to be America based. So probably maybe suits you in a way because obviously you've Andrade, you've Charlo, and then obviously you've Golovkin obviously as well. But most of these fights all seem to happen in America. So probably in some ways it's good for you to be in America and fighting because you're going to be more on people's thoughts and things like that. It might push you, get you a fight sooner.
Definitely. Well, Golovkin was actually here in December for a training camp just down the road from us, and the guys that I'm sparring with now in the gym that I'm in, they were hired with Golovkin's team to go down and train with them, you know, sparring partners. So they were training and sparring with them for a few weeks before the fight got called off. So he's going to be coming back here around March time, hopefully, and I'll still be here. So hopefully, you know, I'll get down with the guys that have already been down sparring with him, you know, so that'll be a good experience, you know, just to see where the level's at then.
Exactly, and like the age of Golovkin as well, was he 36, 37 now, and he's still at the top level of the sport, and, you know, obviously had a couple of fights with Canelo. You know, I personally thought he won the first, and probably the second one was probably say it's like a one each sort of job, but he's always deserved the trilogy fight, and unfortunately now he has to get himself in the position where, you know, Canelo's the cash king in the sport and everybody wants to fight him, but unfortunately even a name like Golovkin's not going to get the fight unless he sweeps up ring at middleweight.
Yeah, definitely.
But obviously, speaking of obviously about the middleweight division there as well, obviously someone that's relatively close by to you whenever you are at home in Donegal, Jay Quigley. Jay fought Andrade there for the world title. What was your thoughts on the fight, and does it sort of help you in your goals knowing that somebody in Jay, it's only just down the road from you whenever you're home? Does that obviously help you realize that Jay's fought for world title and he's not too far away, so I just need to keep focusing on what you're doing?
Well, you know, everybody has different plans and different roads to get to a world title. I probably would have had my opportunity as well if he didn't have these 2 years, you know, off, because after the fight I had in Washington, we were due to fight for the WBC title to get on the top 10 that April. So 2 years ago almost. So God knows where we would be by then, but we're picking off now where we left off here. So in March, if everything goes well, February fight, we're going to fight for a WBA title to get on the top 10 or top 15 with WBA. And then that title I just spoke about, it's an NABF, which Jason Quigley already held a few years back, which is a WBC ranking. So that'll get you in the top 10 as well. So those are the kind of titles that are, you know, very close by now. Hopefully have both of them by the end of the summer. And then I'll be on both of them rankings. So that's our path and that's our goal. And we just take it from there. But yeah, we want big names in from here on out.
And I guess sort of with the Andrade sort of thing at the moment as well, I think, because, you know, he seems to be somebody that's avoided. You know, he's obviously fought Luke Keeler, he's fought Liam Williams, and obviously Jay Quigley. So he's probably not in boxing sense, he's not fighting the very top names, and that's no discredit to the fighters he's fought, but he hasn't been able to fight the likes of Golovkin, Charlo and things like that, so he's not getting them opportunities. So I think the talk was of him moving up to 168. So there may be a vacant belt coming along there as well.
Yeah, well, it's not like he hasn't been trying. He has been calling out all the names, but I think it's just because I think it's because of his style, southpaw, and how he fights. A lot of them don't want to fight him. But just before that Quigley fight, around the same time, I got that Eubank call. About a week later, Andrade's team called me to come out to help him with sparring. We'll get ready for Quigley and stuff. But obviously, I couldn't go because I didn't have my visa and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, now that I'm back in America, this is that they will want to bring me into camp, and a possibility if they get this Golovkin fight, they want to bring me over. So I'm on their radars, which is good, and that's why I just got to keep myself busy this year now and make up for lost time.
Would that have been a strange one for you as well? Obviously, a fellow Irishman and Jay fighting Andrade, and you obviously helping prepare Andrade for him. Would have been hard not to pick up the phone to Jay and go, Jay, Andrade's doing this or Andrade's doing that. How obviously it didn't happen, but that have been a tough call for you, because you ideally want Jay to win, even though you're in helping Andrade work for a fight. Yeah,
no, it would have been a strange one, but at the same time, I need to pick up on my own career and take the opportunities as they come as well, and that would have been a massive experience and opportunity for myself. So I would have just been putting it down to that, but of course it would have been a strange one helping them prepare, because obviously I wouldn't have wanted them to beat the fellow Irishman, but I would have been working on my own opportunities and keep myself active and busy.
Or even getting to the stage where you may have injured Andrade and then not being able to, either ruin Jay's dreams. If you'd end up, obviously I know it's past tense now, but you'd end up ruining his opportunity of a world title by sparking Andrade out and putting him out of the fight. But obviously, just finishing off then yourself, you're obviously fighting in the 19th of February in Massachusetts. If I can say that right. I know they used to use a spelling thing for that and how do you say it right. Do you have any idea? I know you had an opponent originally lined in. Is it Martin Fidel Rios? Are you still fighting him in February, or has anything changed?
No, we've changed the opponent now. We have a bit better opponent. This guy Nicholas Pito, Pitto, I think it is. Tough Argentinian as well. He's fought world class fighters. 27 and 9 he is, and he's beat some UK undefeated fighters as well. Good prospects coming up recently. Some guys 14 and 0 and 16 and 0 and stuff. So he's not going to be no pushover. He's going to be there to win, and he's hands high. He's a very good tight guard. So it's going to be hard to get past his shots, but I think my power and stuff, I'll even hurt him with the gloves up. So I'm looking forward to getting in and blowing this boy away, and then stepping it up again in March for a big title fight.
It's obviously it's a decent opponent as well, and 2 years out of America and things like that. It'd probably been easy for you to take a nice, handy, easy one. What's the thoughts behind this sort of opponent? Is it just about making a mark now in 2022 at your back? And your
well, the plan was they wanted to have a selected opponent or whatever, for my first fight back, just to get the ring rust off and stuff. But see, the lower level of people I fight, I sort of bring myself to their level. The higher level I fight, the better I perform. So I would rather fight at a higher level. So you're going to see the best of me at a higher level. It's the same as sparring. I've never been outclassed in sparring ever. So I always take myself to people's levels. So this guy he's pretty tough, and he's fought at world level, so I'm excited to get in and get a dominant one against him, and then we'll just move forward from there.
And then obviously the plan then is Boston in March. That'd been a nice way to really bring yourself back to America. Getting the obviously fighting and anywhere you fight and to hear an Irishman's fighting in St. Patrick's weekend, it's going to be sold out regardless where it is. Yeah,
definitely. It's as I say, hopefully it'll be a big title fight. So I'll be coming home, hopefully top 15 with a WBA, if not even top 10. So for 2 years out, to go away for 2 fights and come back home, for a couple of weeks being in the top 10, it'll be a massive buzz, obviously. and then we'll get straight back to camp again then around May and go for another big title then in the summertime.
And I was just going to finally say, obviously, you've jetted back out to America between Christmas and New Year, leaving obviously your other half and kids and things behind. It's, I guess that probably, for anybody, it might show how determined things you are in the sport, and how brutal the sport can be at times. You're chasing your dreams to obviously provide for futures for them. So, anybody that sort of is going to question, where can Conor Coyle go in the sport? Well, if you can leave your family and your kids behind, you obviously have the full belief you're going to reach the very top.
Well, that's it. I wouldn't be doing this for, just for the sake of it. I am here to get to the top, and I'm going to just work until I do get to the top. But I'm away from them now. I haven't left my son, Caleb, since he was born. He's 18 months now, so this is my first time leaving him. I'm away for 3.5 months, so it's going to be very difficult. I'm only here a week already, and it's struggling already. But I have to push through it. And making these sacrifices, that's the only thing it's going to help get you to where you want to be.
Definitely, and that's a sort of sacrifice sometimes, I guess, anybody has to do in any sport, but particularly in boxing, when you're only paving your fight and things like that, you're out to provide the future. So, when you're retired in 5 or 10 years' time, your kids are obviously education, everything else is all sorted, so you can help them achieve their dreams.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm doing it for a reason, and I want to build a good future for my kids as well.
Definitely. Well, we've got the obviously in the questions. Obviously, it's very cold and very wintry here in Belfast. Obviously, we're able to sort of see half out the window there. We can see the sun shining in America, and it's still early morning for yourself. But obviously, I want to thank you, Conor, once again for coming on and having the chat. I'm obviously sure we'll obviously look forward to the fight in February. Probably as a case of us buying the match sticks now in advance to keep ourselves awake for the late night showings. But we obviously wish you all the very best of luck for the rest of your camp, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
All right, Conor. Cheers. Take care.
Hopefully next time you're talking to me, I'm top 10.
Definitely. Fingers crossed. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, bud. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.